Jay here, along the way with J&J. Let's see, it's Saturday the 25th, I believe. So today we're over at the storage, and I'm gonna attempt to get her up into the driveway, Lady T up into the driveway, so we can do some work on her, do some generator work, oil changes, and all that kind of good stuff. But the first thing I got to do is get it up off the jacks. Last year we put 4 jack stands underneath, 2 on each end, just to relieve the pressure on the tires throughout the winter. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to that, and we'll be checking in off and on. If we look underneath here, I don't know if we can see it. I got 2 jacks under here in the back and 2 in the front. So I used these paving stones to get some height on the jack. Just jack it up, take them off there, and get her started up and get her up into the driveway. Right. So what we're gonna do, I'll take this 8-ton bottle jack here, put it on these blocks, crank it up, and see if we can't get this thing up into the driveway. Get it started. Now get underneath here. Alright, so right there, looks pretty good. You want to make sure you get it on the frame, not on any leaf springs, or definitely not on the exhaust or one of your tanks, but to get a good solid foundation on the frame so you can jack it up without any issues. So I think that's pretty good right there for this one. Should be able to, a little bit more. So we'll be able to slide this out. There's number one. It's a pretty good investment for the winter. It's just to help save the tires from getting any flat spots. So once you get that one out, just let it down real easy. If I remember correctly from the spring when I put it under here, or the summer, end of summer, it's kind of a pain to get the jack down sometimes, and you gotta help it, wiggle it. There you go. So that's that one. So we're gonna take this around to the other side, do the same thing over there. I think I'll leave the camera right there. I should be able to. Ow! What's that? Lost the jack. Now these blocks you can pick up at any Home Depot or Lowe's. You know, under $2 a piece, and they're worth it. Just to have for the jack to stabilize it. So we're going to do the same thing over here. I believe we did it over here in the fall. So just got to get the blocks over there. It's also good to mention that these jack stands are 6-ton capacity each. So I got 4 of those. Because this rig itself is about 6 tons, give or take. So you want to make sure you have plenty of support to hold it up. And with each of these jacks being able to do 6 tons, you're good to go. Plus you could also use these jacks if you're going to get underneath like I am, probably in the next few weeks off and on, to do oil changes, radiator work, transmission work, whatever underneath. Again here, we're not going up real high, we're just going up enough to relieve the pressure on the jack, and able to, the jack stand, and able to wiggle it out. A little bit of a bad angle with the tank here, so I'll just shorten the pipe. This one's a little bit further away from the jack, so we might have to go up a little higher. Yeah, we're looking good now. Wiggle that out. So that's number 2. So I'm going to have to go around to the front. Now, I do expect the tires to be a little low on air. And that's another reason to keep it on the jacks. You know, when it gets lower on air, they'll be more apt to get flat spots since they're not properly inflated. Alright, I'll meet you in the front. Alright, let's see here. Alright, so I think here in the front, we just did it on this crossbar built onto the frame. So I'm going to put the blocks here, and maybe if I get towards the middle, I might be able to do both on one jack up. Now let's see what it looks like. Gotta get a little close to the center. So the weather is kind of going back and forth. You know, during the day we get up into the 50s and 60s, but at nights we get around 32. I've been reluctant to start the de-winterization of the tanks, just so you know, in case it gets down to below freezing, we don't have any issues. But I think pretty soon we'll be able to get that antifreeze out and sanitize the tank, and we'll take a video of that just to show you what we do. And we, you know, everybody does it a little different, but it's most of the time it's the same way. This is going to have to start a little lower. started here. See, this one's going to be a little slippery. I think we did it right here last time. Let me try that. So we're going to do one at a time. This bar doesn't really have any. I guess maybe we'll put it there. Whatever. I'll just stick to what we know. Go with the frame. Down frame anyway. Now we're cooking. That's that one. Now, set this down. We'll come over there to the camera. You have all the jacks out, and I only broke one brick. So we got a little divot there. It kind of swoops down into, and the ground is sunken in. I tossed the brick on there. One was on the slant, one was not, one side on not, and broke it up. So, whatever. Like I said, these were only like $1 or something a piece, so I'm not really heartbroken about it. But all the jack stands are out. So, next step is check the road out. Unhook the solar panels and see if we can't get her out of the backyard and into the driveway. So here's the road, and you probably saw this in last year's Escape from Winter Storage, which was probably April of last year, where I had to snow blow this road. It was a couple feet of snow and ice. This year it's nice and dry, no snow, and it hasn't rained for a few days, so it should be solid enough to drive out with no issue, especially since it's been getting down to the 30s at night to harden up the ground. I'm sorry if this video is a little wobbly. It's hard to walk and not bounce the camera. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk up and down here, clear out all these branches that are sticking into the road. Just big enough to mess with the camper. It does feel a little soggy, but it's not going to stop me. Not today, anyway. Alright, so I'm going to take this little barrier down and clean up the road from the sticks, and we'll be back.